Thank you for being here. So one of the reasons when we said, hey, which session do you want to be able to participate? Avocados from Mexico was clearly one of those brands that we want to have the association with. As you can tell, it's a brand that is very innovative. It's doing very interesting things that you would not necessarily expect a brand like you to do. And I think, so we've done Super Bowls for 7 years now. Eight. So it's a brand that is really leaning into doing different things that gets the word out, which I think is super special when you talk about owned and earned media. So we have some very, easy questions because I want to get her perspective of what she's excited about. And also I think that from a brand that's doing lots of different things, what works for them? Where do they see really kind of the opportunities ahead? So let's start. Like, where do you get excited in 2023? Are there innovations or things that you're seeing that you say, this would be great as we kind of push into new opportunities ahead?
Yes, of course. I think that innovation is in our DNA, and it was a promise, and that it came in a conversation that I had with my CEO when I was interviewing. First of all, when they called me, the recruiter called me. I'm going to take 1 minute to tell this story because it's a great story. The recruiter called me, and I had no experience in the fresh product category. I have been in advertising agencies, McCann Erickson, the Richards Group, American Airlines. I have been in fashion, communications, and they called me to interview with Avocados. And I say, heck no. And what I'm going to do in Avocados? And it was before the first Super Bowl. So it was an unknown brand. But they convinced me to go to talk to the CEO, and I really love his vision. And I saw there's something here that we can build. There was nothing. There was not even a website. And he brought me in to build a digital marketing department from the ground up. And when I asked him, why you want me if I have no experience in the produce category, he said, because that's what I want. I want someone who understands very well the digital space, that is very creative, to help me do what nobody else has done. And I was in. And it became a promise that we will do what nobody else has done, and we have done. As we mature as an organization and innovation became part of our DNA, we actually were named the most innovative brand in the list of Fast Company 2020. After all, we were number one, number two was TikTok. Imagine that. So after that, and one of the areas that I started developing years ago, after developing the traditional areas like SEO, paid search, media buy, programmatic, web development, it was data and analytics. And we've been an obsessed performance organization. What I look forward to is to transform that quantity. We're talking about billions of impressions, and we don't settle for less than that for years. But I think that we as an industry are in a moment where we need to change the currency, an exchange quantity for quality. And one of the things that I'm very excited about is attention as a metric. So this was a coincidence. I don't think that, we met after we were assigned already to the panel, say, okay, let's meet and meet each other, nice to meet you. But when they were telling me what they do, I was super excited because that is at the core and center of my media strategy for next year. It's a hard pill to swallow when you say, well, let's forget about billions of impressions, let's focus about powerful impressions. But it's the right thing to do. And that's what excites me, is to take everything that we have built and make it 100 times more meaningful when we focus on attention.
Yeah, I think that, what we see is a common belief, and it's great getting her perspective, because the reality is that as media shifts, it's really the metric shift. Viewability is great, but is that actually the consumer eyeball? Like, can we prove that? What did we learn from that? How's it associate with respect to how a TV ad in a Super Bowl ad works across digital, and how that all relates? And that's where we see that theme with respect to brands and agencies too, which is what is the consumer actually doing with that? How do we make sure that we prove that out? So it's thank you, because I think that's great to get that perspective. If we had to flip it to maybe some brand marketers in the room and said, you know, with 8+ years of doing lots of different things, what would you say are kind of your successes? And I think we've seen a few, but maybe what are your failures? What are the things you said we learned from that, and that is something we wouldn't do again, or something like that? You know, it'd be great to get some perspective on that.
Sure. Before I get to that, I want to add something from the previous. So it's super exciting because this is a story. I was having dinner last night with the global head of the CEO for our agency, Havas Media. It's a pretty large agency, 25,000 people. And I was telling him that I have this conversation today, and he said, with Lumen, we have a global agreement with Lumen. And I say, you're kidding me. I sent Scott an email last night at midnight. Say, Scott, do you know that we have an agreement with Lumen? So everything that I was envisioning, then my agency is also working on that. And that means a lot because, again, it's an agency that has a huge influence in how media is driven in the entire world. So that, I need to say that. So what have we learned? I think that one thing that I have always focused since I started is when you want to do what nobody else has done, you can focus on the present of what everybody else is doing, so I'm going to do it as well, because then that doesn't work like that. So you have to try to read the signals in the industry that are still very soft, but when you bring them together, you kind of put together a puzzle of this is coming, this is the next thing that is coming, and anticipate to that and do it first. So when you lead from that perspective, you're taking a risk every single time. But the beauty of digital spaces and digital marketing is that you can course correct really, really fast. And yes, we made mistakes, or things sometimes don't work the way we wanted it, but it's so quickly that you can course correct that it doesn't have any impact in the results. So what I learned is move super fast, make really fast decision, find the ways, you know, in my experience, one of the most difficult things is alignment with other areas, other stakeholders, other departments, and think, you know, just find a way. I know it's not easy, but you have to figure out what is the best way to align quickly, because in the alignment is where you lose a lot of opportunities. And then you miss it. And when that boat is gone, it's gone. Somebody else is going to do it. And I have seen that happen, that there it goes, what I wanted to do. And then, so you have to be very intentional about beating anyone else in the market.
Great. We only have a few more minutes. I want to open up and see if there are any questions from the room that you wanted to ask our panelists here. All right. You got one?
Ivonne, Jack Randall with T-Mobile Advertising Solutions.
Nice to meet you.
Congrats on all your success. My question is, beyond the mass play, such as the Super Bowl, is there a defined profile or segment or new segments that really drive your business on a daily basis through 52 weeks as opposed to just that Super Bowl activation?
Yeah, we're active all year round, and the Super Bowl is one tempo, but we have ongoing campaigns for other pillars like brand and health and wellness, core uses, which is what are the opportunities in terms of avocado dishes that represent the big wins. And we are active with those campaigns all year round. We have a segmentation. Actually, we have a new segmentation that we're launching this year with 8 new segments that identifies what are the consumers that represent the best opportunity. And we're leveraging data and in partnership with LightRamp, Ramp IDs, if you guys are familiar with it, to tie everything that we do through that Ramp ID, so we hit the same consumers. So when we talk about reach and frequency, is really, really reach and frequency to the same group of consumers, regardless of the segment, but always within those 8 segments.
I'm with Tip Streets Cookie Delivery, Alex. Curious about your experiential marketing efforts and how you read and really tap into your consumer ROI on those programs.
So we don't do a whole lot of activations. We did one in 2017 here in South by Southwest, and actually this is our second one. That's a great question, because the most challenging part of getting that approved and getting the support of the CEO was to demonstrate how are we going to deliver, because a really fun activation is not enough. So we set at different KPIs, including digital and physical. So my promise was, it's not only Austin, it's the entire United States. So we're going to find a way to leverage digital to take that experience that is going on inside that venue to everyone in the United States. So we have live streaming from the house. We have technology like I say, a robot. A robot is a machine. There's nothing extraordinary about it, but it's how we program the robot and what we program to do with the capabilities that they have, like emotion recognition, age recognition, and the sort of stuff, to deliver an experience that is worth sharing for the users. So for every user that interacts with that robot, we can count with probably, either thousands or millions of impressions that go out to anywhere in the United States. So we have several of those experiences. We have brand innovators partnering with us to bring all of you and everybody else who wants to listen to great conversations in the future of food. So we are delivering by multiple metrics. So the experience become an asset. Like, we have a Super Bowl spot to deliver 2.8 billion impressions. We have an activation in South by Southwest to deliver ABCD.
All right, one more, last question.
Hi, I work with HEB. It's a grocery retailer here in Texas. I'm curious, what does the role of the partnership with retailers play in your marketing strategy? And are you leveraging additional assets like digital coupons or promotions in that sense to help really elevate your sales?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I'm a strong believer, and this is not new. Like I say, seeing the signals of the market, I have been preaching for 3 years in my company that retail ecosystems are going to dominate, and we need to play in those ecosystems, not only on the performance side, but also brand side. And I have been also pushing an initiative within my company that I call brand formance. That is, every brand should be in this point using every dollar to drive performance and branding at the same time with the same asset. The retail ecosystems are a great way to do that. Now, my dream, and I see this happening within the next 2 years, is data collaboration in those environments, so we can find or segments or A segments within those environments, go to a clean room, and work together in partnership to reach those.
All right, I believe we're out of time, but thank you so much, Ivonne,
Thank you.
for showing all this, and appreciate it very much.
Thank you.